Hey guys, this video took an unexpected turn when filming. The script was ready and so were the testing parameters. Everything was going as planned until I noticed the watch doing some funny business. Make sure to watch the whole video to know the exact conclusions. Now let's start with the video as it was supposed to go. Welcome back to MiiBooth, Irfan here. Earlier this week I reviewed the Zeblaze Thor 6 Android 10 smartwatch with 4G. Now this is the world's first smartwatch with 8 cores, 4GB of RAM and 64GB memory. Now I thought I covered all the points when reviewing the watch, but it turns out that things I might have omitted because I thought were not significant enough might actually be key points for people watching my video. A comment on the first video from Calvin August made me realize that, and I decided to do a follow-up video where I will be focusing solely on 4 points. Number 1, the usage when it comes to typing on the watch and gameplay. Number 2, brightness. Is it clearly visible in bright daylight? Number 3, battery life. And number 4, waterproof testing. If you haven't watched the first video yet, I'll suggest you do that first to get some context on what I'm talking about. You will find it popping up in the top right corner of the screen right now, or look for the link in the description box below. Let's get started. When it comes to the touch, I mentioned in my original video, it is flawless. It is a super responsive feather touch and you won't experience any misses other than occasionally when there's something really near the edge of the watch which you're trying to tap. In the phone app, more than half of the screen is the number pad, which is great because you have these nice big number keys which eliminate the chances of pressing the adjacent button by mistake. The size of the keyboard also goes for texting apps where more than half of the screen is the keyboard. Now since the watch is going to be on your hand, most of the typing is going to be done with just one hand, unlike a smartphone where we use both the hands. Now the keys are considerably smaller than on a phone, which is understandable given the size of the screen. This does pose a challenge to some extent. For the most part, I can type fine. There's also a haptic response from the watch on my wrist from every keystroke, which is kind of reassuring, I guess. You know the tap didn't go fruitless. I can't deny that my error rate is higher with the watch than it would be with the phone, but it isn't as bad as I originally thought. I'm not going to be using this as my primary phone, and for situations where I really have to use it, I can definitely manage a conversation with this keyboard. The trickiest button I find is the enter key. It's really small and tucked right into the edge, so you really need to have a good aim when battering it with that finger. In the SMS app, you also have these quick reply templates which you can shoot for an immediate response. Next up is gameplay. Since you have access to Google Play Store, you can download any app which you can access on an Android phone. Now some games might be too unpractical for a watch like PUBG or Call of Duty, so I decided to go with the simpler ones like Jetpack Joyride, Subway Surfers, and Beach Buggy Racing. The gameplay is smooth and surprisingly pleasant in spite of the size of the screen. The display is very vibrant and the graphics pop through the screen. Now as I mentioned in my previous video, you can use apps in circular screen or a square one. Since these games are designed for a screen with square corners, you do lose access to some stuff on the screen if you choose circular, for example the pause button. However, the side button will start acting as a pause button, so you're covered. It is definitely more enjoyable in circular. With the square screen, it becomes very small and some of the options become really difficult to click on. The gameplay is flawless, and it has to be. There is a Helio P22 octa-core engine in there with 4GB RAM that makes easy work of most games. No overheating or lagging. However, you do have to keep in mind that it will start straining your eyes after like 15 minutes or so. Moving on to the brightness. When you pull down the control center, you can change the brightness by tapping on this icon, which increases the brightness in increments of 25%, or you can long press the same option to access the brightness bar, from where you can set it to your desired value. The only problem is that it doesn't have a light sensor, so you can't set it to auto brightness, where it will adjust to ambient light conditions, hence optimizing the battery life. I've been using it mostly inside and it's fine even at 25%. Let's step outside and see how it looks on a bright sunny afternoon. As long as I'm in the shade, it is decently visible even at 25% brightness. When I take it over to full, it is now actually nice and bright and I don't have any problems whatsoever making out and playing around with whatever is on the screen. Now when I step into the sunlight, even 100% brightness doesn't help that much. I can still make out the time with a quick glance, but that's about it. I'll have to squint my eyes if I want to text somebody or play a game perhaps. Honestly, I don't see a reason why anyone would need to stand in direct sunlight and use the watch, but for those who plan to do it, this is what it's gonna look like. If you were to tell me I can improve only one feature out of all of them on this watch, what would it be? My answer will be the battery. Now it carries an 830 milliamp hours battery, which takes about an hour and 40 minutes to charge with a fast charging cable, and it doesn't last more than a day, and I'll explain how. So I charged it at 8:30 in the morning and started using it. I switched off GPS data connection, I switched off the Bluetooth connection with my phone. I did leave the Wi-Fi on, and the brightness, I started with 25%, but I did keep switching between 25, 50 and 100% depending on where I was. By 10 p.m. I was down to 30%. Now I did take it off before I went to sleep, and surprisingly it made it to 12 p.m. the next day, which makes it about 27 hours of usage on a little below average use. So if I was using it a little above average, for example, the data was switched on and I was using it to make calls and texting and all that, I think it would have drained the night before completely. In any case, it is not going to make it more than 1 day of usage. And this is pretty much the most disappointing factor for me in the whole watch, because if I'm paying $175, I'd at least expect a couple of days battery life, or at least better than what it is offering right now. Finally, coming to waterproof testing. In my original video, I mentioned that I couldn't find the IP rating of the watch on Banggood's product page. In fact, I couldn't even find it on Zeblaze's official website. I did, however, find from another source that it is IP67, which means it is completely dust-proof, and it should also be able to withstand splashes of water, as well as being submerged underwater in a shallow depth of no more than 15 centimeters for up to 30 minutes. So I'm gonna go for the dive here. Now I didn't want to go all the way to the beach, so I decided this time to just dip it in the glass and leave it there for a couple of seconds. By the way, I haven't watched anyone do it yet online. I tried to search, but I couldn't find anything, so I'm risking my $175 for you guys. So I really hope you show some appreciation by hitting the like button below, as well as subscribing to MiiBooth while you're there. So I decided to launch the stopwatch and then start it and then dip it in water to have something running on the screen, you know, while it is being submerged. And this is when I realized it doesn't have a stopwatch nor a timer. It only has an alarm clock. So that is something to be looked at. Anyways, what I'm going to do is go for the recorder app, because when you start recording, there's a watch that comes up and it starts the timer. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. I can't is it working? I can't even see it from this angle. The screen is still on. The timer has stopped. As you can see, it has stopped, but everything is still working. Now, when you dip screens into water, if they're IPS or whichever touch screens there are, it does have a tendency to interact with the water. It doesn't necessarily mean it is ruined. So even if I just try to, it is working fine. There is still a couple of drops on the water, which again, you know, it messes up with the way you're interacting with the screen. But I'm going to dip it once again. This time, leave it in there for a couple of seconds. Meanwhile, I get tissue paper so I can dry it when it comes out. Alright, I'm back. Okay, so now the screen is completely dry, and now when I try to use it, it's completely fine. Nothing's wrong with it. Nothing's glitching. Nothing's lagging. Everything's perfectly fine. So yeah, I think even though they have not mentioned it, I think the watch is completely waterproof, or at least IP67, IP68 would be completely waterproof. So basically it is safe to say that you can wear it during, you know, washing your hands, or maybe in the shower as well, or you can even maybe take it for a mild swim, and I think it will come out fine. Now, after I finished this shoot, I concluded that the watch is waterproof and carried on to edit the video. But when I sat down to do that, I noticed the watch doing some funny stuff. I couldn't catch it on camera initially, but after leaving the camera on record while I was working, this is what I caught. The watch suddenly got a mind of its own and started changing faces all by itself without me touching it. This makes me conclude that either my watch is hacked or it is not waterproof to begin with. So if you have one, don't let it anywhere near water. I put my watch on the line so you don't have to. Now I really do hope the water dries out and it is fixed, but right now I'm freaking out. I'll update you what happens on my YouTube and Instagram stories, so make sure you follow me there. Okay, that is a wrap for today, guys. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit the like button below and share the video with your friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe to MiiBooth and turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss out on any new content as soon as it is uploaded. If you have questions on this video or any of my video, do let me know in the comments below. Trust me, I read them all and I'll try my best to answer any queries you have. Click on the thumbnails you see on the screen to watch my other videos or check out my YouTube channel for more. And as always, thanks for watching and I'll see you soon in the next video.